The man never expected that after disguising himself as a useless prince for years, a single unintentional move would expose his true identity and make the entire empire tremble. Because in the eyes of the world, Jack was the well-known useless prince of the empire. Yet no one knew that this lazy, idle prince was actually one of the 5 remaining SS rank adventurers on the continent. And the reason Jack deliberately hid his identity was because he possessed the ancient magic most forbidden by the royal family. His grandfather had once died because he researched ancient magic. Since then, ancient magic had become taboo within the royal family. Because of this, Jack acted as a useless prince during the day, and at night he put on a mask under the name Shiwa, going to the Adventurers Guild to take on high-difficulty missions. But on this day, the butler came to report that a noble supporting Jack's faction had been assassinated. Hearing this, Jack understood that the battle for the throne had already turned vicious. Although he had no intention of becoming emperor, the princes would never let him go easily. So Jack decided to help his younger brother, the 8th prince, ascend the throne. That way he could fulfill his dream of marrying a beautiful wife and living a peaceful, stable life. The urgent task was to build his own power, but all powerful nobles and ministers had already been divided up by the other princes. Only the prestigious Duke Kleiner had not chosen a side. It was said that a troublesome monster in his territory had not yet been dealt with. Jack immediately decided to offer help using his adventurer identity and then transfer the favor to his brother. But unexpectedly, Jack was rejected by the Duke's son, because if an SS rank adventurer were coming, the guild would have sent a notice beforehand. Jack wanted to show his adventurer card to prove his identity, but the other party not only refused to believe him, he even directly told Jack to leave. During the conversation, Jack accidentally noticed the Duke's daughter peeking from the 2nd floor. With just one glance, Jack immediately liked her, so he decided to change his plan, teleported home immediately, and hurriedly asked the butler to prepare a carriage. This time, he would go using his identity as a prince of the empire. After 5 days of long travel, Jack finally arrived at the Duke's estate and met the Duke. After a brief exchange, he got straight to the point, saying that the 8th prince had, out of goodwill 5 days ago, invited the empire's strongest SS rank adventurer, Shiwa, to help the Duke solve the monster problem in his territory, but was ruthlessly driven away. This directly humiliated the 8th prince. Jack questioned the Duke's intentions. Hearing this, the Duke stood up in shock, because he knew nothing about this matter. He asked Jack to wait, while he immediately gathered information to investigate what Jack had said. As a result, the Duke discovered that his son had indeed driven away an adventurer 5 days ago. The Duke understood the seriousness of the situation. After all, Shiwa's strength was famous even within the empire. Offending Shiwa might cause him to refuse future requests from the territory, so the Duke apologized at once and asked Jack how he wished to be compensated. At that moment, the Duke's daughter Fanny suddenly walked over, saying she was willing to offer herself to atone for her father's and brother's mistakes, and begged Jack for help, because the people in the territory were still waiting to be saved. This action made Jack realize that the Duke's family truly cared about their land, and were qualified to become the 8th prince's allies. So Jack continued acting like a proud prince on the surface, while secretly signaling the butler to cooperate with the act. In the end, he said he could help them plead with Shiwa. The Duke immediately took action, and sent people to find Shiwa. Jack then went with Fanny to seek help, but what they didn't expect was that Shiwa was merely a shadow clone created by Jack, and Jack personally performed the entire scene, bowing his head and apologizing to his own clone. This gesture deeply moved Fanny, because even if Jack was called a useless prince, his status in the empire was still extremely high, and seeing Jack so sincere, Shiwa agreed to eliminate the monster. On the way back, Fanny thanked Jack for everything he had done for them. After the matter was resolved, Jack put on his mask again, and arrived at the monster site as Shiwa. Although the slimes around here were all small fry, the problem was that they kept splitting from the main body. If the source wasn't eliminated quickly, they would keep appearing endlessly. Although the guild had already sent 1 A rank adventurer and 4 B rank adventurers, they still lacked firepower, and couldn't solve the problem at its root. The creature's vitality was too strong. They simply couldn't kill it in one strike. After learning that Shiwa, a top SS rank adventurer, had come to help, everyone was very grateful. The next second, Jack stepped into the center of the battlefield, raised his hand and activated super tier magic. After chanting the incantation of ancient magic, flames gathered at Jack's fingertips. The sky seemed to ignite and press downward before anyone could react. Jack unleashed execution flame and struck down directly.
マザースライムと全てのスライムの討伐完了だ。報告を頼めるか。
あんたが行くべきだ。公爵領を救った英雄だぞ。
悪いが英雄には興味がない。あとは任せた。
However, Jack never expected that right after eliminating the slimes and returning to the Duke's estate, he would accidentally be seen by Fanny, who had come to thank him.
アルノルト王子。
いいね。